He ignored her last call, and the next morning, she was gone. That was the line that haunted me for years. It wasn't from a movie. It was my life. And that one mistake changed everything I believed about love, time, and regret. It was a Friday night. The kind of night that just drains you. Traffic was crazy. Rain was falling, and I was exhausted from work. My phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. I looked down. Mom. I sighed and dropped the phone. I told myself, I'll call her later. I'm too tired. Later, that word is dangerous. I remember she had called me earlier that morning too. She just wanted to tell me she cooked my favorite food, jollof rice with fried plantain, and asked if I could come home that weekend. I said, Mom, I'm busy. Maybe next time. She laughed softly and said, Okay, my son, take care of yourself. I didn't know that would be her last laugh I'd ever hear. Around 10:42 p.m., my phone rang again. It was her, and I stared at it for a long moment. My finger hovered over the screen, but I didn't pick. I was angry about my life, about work, about everything, and somehow I let that anger punish the only person who ever loved me unconditionally. I pressed decline. Then I threw my phone on the bed and said to myself, I'll call her tomorrow. I didn't know tomorrow would never come for her. At 6:27 a.m., I woke up to the sound of my phone ringing again. It was my uncle. He never called that early. When I picked up, his voice was shaking. He said, Michael, your mother didn't wake up. I froze. I didn't understand. What do you mean she didn't wake up? He went silent. Then he whispered, She's gone. I dropped the phone. My legs gave out. It was like my whole world collapsed on top of me. When I reached her house, people were already there, crying, praying, comforting each other. But I couldn't hear anything. It felt like my ears were filled with water. I walked into her room. She was lying there, covered in white cloth, peaceful, still. Her phone was beside her pillow. And when I unlocked it, I saw her last call. To me, 10:42 p.m. The same call I ignored. My throat tightened. I fell beside her bed and cried like I never had before. I kept whispering, I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. But no matter how loud I cried, she didn't answer. After the burial, everyone went home, but I couldn't. I stayed behind, sitting by her grave till night came. I didn't care about the rain, the mosquitoes. Nothing mattered. I just sat there, hoping she'd somehow hear me. I kept staring at my phone, praying it would ring again, that maybe she'd call one more time and I'd finally answer. But it never rang. 3 nights later, I had a dream. She was standing in the kitchen, smiling, wearing her favorite wrapper. The smell of her perfume filled the air, the same one she used every Sunday. She turned to me and said softly, You finally picked up, my son. I said, Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ignore you. She smiled again and said, I know, my child, but now pick up for others too, because someone, somewhere, needs your voice before it's too late. Then she faded. I woke up crying, not the small kind of tears, the kind that leaves you shaking. A week later, I got a call from one of her neighbors. She said, Your mom left something for you. When I went there, she handed me a small envelope. On the front, my name was written in her handwriting. Inside was a letter. She wrote, My son, I know life gets hard. Sometimes you'll be tired, angry, or too busy. But promise me you'll never let that stop you from loving. Pick up when someone calls. Smile when you can. Forgive quickly. Because one day, you'll wish for one more chance, and it won't come. That letter broke me, but it also fixed something inside me. Since that day, I started calling people I hadn't spoken to in years. Old friends, my father, even people I once argued with. Sometimes the conversations are awkward. Sometimes they cry. But every single time, I feel my mother smiling somewhere. And I realize something. Love doesn't need perfect timing. It just needs you to show up. If you're watching this right now, maybe there's someone you haven't called in a while. Someone waiting, checking their phone, wondering if you still care. Call them, text them, forgive them. Don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow is just a promise that life doesn't always keep. If you had one more chance to answer a call from someone you've lost, what would you say first?